galactic civil war spreads across the stars. From the heights of Coruscant to fiery Mustafar, to fight the evil empire, for people join the fray. These are the heroes of the Hydian Way.
Welcome to Heroes of the Hydian Way. This is a Star Wars actual play podcast, and we're playing in Fantasy Flight Games' Age of Rebellion system. This is a homebrew adventure that might be planned, might not, but we'll never tell. And this is The Bad Backs, Episode 1. And I'm Ben, the GM for this adventure.
Hello everybody, my name is Adam, and I'm playing CT-1245 Notches, a clone sharpshooter and retired clone trooper.
I'm David, and I am playing CT-4913, aka Hot Zone, also a retired clone trooper. He's a heavy, by the way.
And I am Leslie. I'm playing CT-5244, Trapper Keeper.
And what's your spec?
That's a good question. I'm apparently a spy. Actually, no, that's my career. I'm an infiltrator. Spy infiltrator. So there.
Okay. And I am Captain CT-8913 Talkback, and I am a clone officer and an analyst. Also retired.
I don't know where you get the gall to retire. There's so much to do.
Getting too old for this, Criff.
You gotta keep busy.
There's one thing about keeping busy, but that's why I want to raise puffer pigs. You're always busy on the farm. Much more quiet life. You don't have to remember all the lives you've taken, all the horrors you've seen when you're out there with some pretty little grunters, just watching the corn grow and the sun rise over the sunset. No need to polish up the old rifle and go and take out some clankers when you're out there on the farm.
I will
That's
say.
all.
Oh no, the herd's been startled.
And in a high winter boot, it's like a field of balloons.
They do taste pretty good. Nice light meal.
A puffer pig will feed a family of 10 or a family of 20 if you shout loudly first.
The camera starts off. You see this. You can see the horizon, and it looks pretty much blue skies with a little traces of high altitude cloud, and a grass that seems to have gotten close to seed, kind of like a wheat. It just stretches out, and on the absolute horizon, you can see a little black speck. It's at this point you realize this camera is moving fast, and it's moving towards that black speck. The only thing you're really seeing moving is the clouds, and just slowly. Then you start seeing patches of the ground that seem to have just fallen away in on itself into these sinkholes. Then they're just screaming past. Up from the bottom of the camera, you see the blunt nose of a new class shuttle that is going at about, I'm saying, 3 yards off the surface. It's getting closer and closer to this black speck that by now has grown up into looking like a black pillbox. It looks completely, utterly crystalline black. It looks like a blunted crystal spire. And as you get closer and closer, you start realizing that this is not a tiny rock formation, that it's about a good kilometer high. It's even more massive around, that this mesa in the middle of nowhere is truly, truly huge. This shiny crystalline black. There's a single gray metal band coming from the top down one side, and you can see little lights flickering on it, almost like the side of a computer. The New Class shuttle comes close and then settles down into a sinkhole that swallows up the entire ship, that leaves just the tiniest bit of the fins as they fold up above the surface. From inside, our 4 heroes come out.
Our destiny pool for the session are 3 light side points and 3 dark side points. It's balance. So the first person we see walk down the shuttle ramp is a human woman in her late 60s with weathered features and long silver gray hair that's currently tied back in a braid. We can see just across her face, she's got a few different old looking scars, and she's walking with a bit of a noticeable limp. And she's wearing, I guess right now we would see the a brown sort of poncho, but we can make out a little bit of white laminate around her hands. I think she's got kind of a battered looking Phase 2 clone trooper helmet under her arm right now that has some purple kind of markings along it. And she's got a carbine and a pistol on her hips, but they're also kind of concealed by this long poncho.
You gotta say something?
So who's following after?
Following you out is a human male whose face is also very familiar. Very weather-beaten, his face. Hair shaved right down to the temples with very, very short grey stubble, just kind of poking out in bits where the razor has missed. He's also wearing white laminate armour. And what's most noticeable about that is his left vambrace is covered in lots of little tiny 5-bar gates that appear to have been carved onto there with the tip of a knife or something similar. The thing that most immediately stands out about Notches is the extremely large rifle that is slung across his waist in one of the gyrostabilizer harnesses, a bit like Drake and Vasquez have in Aliens, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. This rifle is about the same height as Notches. It is huge and written in a very kind of flowing script, not Arabesh, but perhaps one of the other languages throughout the galaxy, is the word nostalgia on the stock.
Nice.
He steps out. His helmet is hanging off a hook on his waist. He takes a few steps ahead of the shuttle, puts his left hand across his eyes to shade his vision, and starts just looking out into the distance.
Third party member walks out. He's wearing pretty much standard, just workman's gear. You can tell that it's armored. And his hair is shaggy, and the beard has been allowed to grow, but it is finely trimmed. It is a very intentional shape. And the touches of gray are just so stark. It's almost as if it was intentionally groomed so that the gray just reflected more light. And he looks around and stretches, rolls his broad shoulders, and starts rooting through a pocket and pulls out a little tool, pops it back in, and he strolls over to where Notches is looking out. Anything fun?
Nothing I can see just yet, although it doesn't look the same as it did last time we were here. I'm not happy about that at all.
We'll just have to get a little closer now, won't we? He slaps you on the back.
Oh, and Notches takes a step forward under the weight of the impact and rolls his shoulders a bit. Yeah, though we're going to stand out like a sore thumb in this shiny plate armour. Don't know what we were thinking. Dig us up some mud so we can get ourselves all sellied up.
I got 3 more ponchos back aboard the shuttle.
I've got my suit.
Just something to throw over top of the armor for the moment.
That's a
It's
fair
a nice
point.
jacket. Doesn't have to wear a poncho. Gotta look good.
Look, they were on sale.
I quite like him. I like a poncho. Just, I never really been one to accessorize too much, but you make a valid point there. Hey, Hot Zone, throw us one of those ponchos when you come out, yeah?
The next thing that comes out of the shuttle is a human male wearing the same set of clone armor, although his is painted with a lot of intricate gray designs all up and down the arms. He's got, they're all, sort of covering where the normal color markings would be on clone armor, but all of these are very like lovingly maintained. The rest of the armor, scratched, dented, scorched, whatever, but the markings are always freshly painted. He's got the sides of his head are shaved, and the top of his head is left with a lot of kind of a shaggy mohawk of gray hair that sort of falls over to one side. The sides of his head continue the markings from his armor, tattooed all the way up to where the mohawk starts. And his face is he has a burn scar that runs down the left side of his face, down his neck, and looks like it continues past where you can see. And he has a kind of a little bit of a shaggy stubble beard that covers anywhere that isn't burned on the lower half of his face. And he's carrying on his back, he has an enormous black metal backpack. You can see he's tried to put on one of the ponchos, but it doesn't actually fit over the backpack and the armor and him all at the same time. So he kind of looks like a camel a little bit. And he's in the process of yanking it over his head, and he kind of chucks it to Notches with a frustrated look on his face. And he's like, "Talk about soul thumbs. I don't think there's going to be much that I can do about this." And then he yanks out a duffel bag that's extremely large, and he pulls it out. And it's a heavy repeating blaster that is basically as tall as he is. And he hooks a cable, like a bundle of cables about 4 or 5 inches thick, to the backpack. And there's like a whine, like a charge sound as he does this. And he steps down and says, "Right then, where to?"
Now we're inside of a sinkhole, right, Ben?
You're on the inside of a sinkhole. You do have ascension gear to get out of the sinkhole. The sinkholes were known when you were coming to here, or you at least heard rumors of them. One of the things that you hear off in the distance is a thud, thud of a Imperial walker that is patrolling nearby.
So then I think as we start hearing that noise in the background, Talkback looks straight up into like the open sky above the hole and says, "Now we wait to catch a ride."
Look, seriously. Wait until that thing steps over and then attach the magnum of it? I mean, that's pretty bold, but I'm not sure I'm comfortable being that exposed. Still, I suppose it beats schlepping all the way, doesn't it?
It'll help us blend in. Won't be nearly as noticeable. She'll go ahead and slip her helmet onto her head and start readying her own ascension cable. Now, one of you still remembers how to drive one of those things, right?
Yeah. Those skills never quite go away.
All right.
Notches locks his own helmet on, kind of shrugs. "The things you talk me into." Loads up his own ascension cable, gets ready.
And it's at this time where the ground starts shaking with each of the thud, thud, as the 4 legs of the Imperial Walker are moving.
Trapper Keeper shrugs on. It is literally a jacket, like a suit jacket over his armor. It's massive to fit there. But once he gets done, you can tell that it's tailored to his shape. And he tugs the lapels and he pulls out a pair of those very snug-fitting sunglasses. And he cracks his knuckles. He's like, "You know I like a party." And he goes like he doesn't even wait for you guys to start he's plugged in and he starts going up.
Hot Zone readies his ascension gun, and then he kind of looks down at the gigantic blasters hanging from a sling around his armor. So he reaches down into the duffel bag and gets a second ascension gun, kind of shrugs, and fires both of them up at the same time.
I love it.
What? I'm a big boy. I need a little bit of help.
All right. I don't want to be left behind. I do want to see if I see what I know about AT-ATs in particular. Maybe something that might help us get on board or commandeer it.
I hear lightsabers are good for getting in.
Well, I don't have one of those.
If you dig through TK's pack, you will find something that looks like a lightsaber, but when you press the button, a blade pops out.
So I would go with be an average knowledge warfare, because while you haven't actually been on a AT-AT, you have done most of your work was around ATTEs, the small six-legged walkers. They're a lot more squat. They've got the giant gun on the back that is manned, which is weird, but whatever.
So I think I want to make this a valuable facts check, Ben.
Okay, that also works.
That
I
sounds
can.
important. What is it?
So if I succeed, it's a average knowledge check. If I succeed, then I can add a triumph to one ally's skill check during the encounter.
Ooh.
So that is going to be 2 yellow, 3 green versus 2 purple.
All right.
And here we go. Look, my memory's not what it used to be. I still managed 1 success and 2 advantages, but this was tough to dig up anything on those.
I mean, there was a lot of cancellation. So
There was a lot of cancellation. So I think I want to, since Notches is the one who mentioned he remembered how to drive something like this, I want to pass the triumph to Notches in particular to use. And then with the 2 advantages, how do we want to handle that for a check like that, Ben? Are they just ignored because it's a talent, or can they be used
I'm gonna
as
go
normal?
with it's still a knowledge check.
Yeah.
Like the success is still you're remembering. Oh well, no, the controls on the AT-AT is still based on the
ATTE.
the ATTE, and like Imperial controls are pretty much the same for the last 30 years, that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So that's what the success gets you. The advantage I'm figuring would be like a boost, or I'm actually thinking it would be closer to like on the Cybernet, there is a door for a walkway that meets up with it,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can just board it without having to have the entire thing drop down onto its knees. That's right next to the speeder bike exit,
Okay.
the giant side panel that drops down.
All right. We should have easy access off of the side panel towards the back. It's where they have an emergency speeder bike ready. Should be the easiest way on board while it's moving.
When we get up there, who wants to be the one that knocks on the door then? I've got to say I'm better from further away.
Dibs. You know me.
All right.
Right.
TK's up.
I'm good with doors.
I've got my hands a bit full at the moment.
Yeah, we've got to talk about that. I mean, bigger, not always better.
You want to get yourself one of these little harnesses like what I've got. Makes it so much easier. And Notches slaps the gyro stabilizer mount, which makes a noise. He looks a little bit worried, kind of stops patting it, just lets it slide back down again to his side.
This is why both of you have back pain.
The other part to a AT-AT is it is just massive. These are truly massive walkers. Like the 4 of you, as you're up on the ridge of this sinkhole, you're within the blind zone of it. The foot comes down close, but not immediately in front of you. When it does do its step in front of you, the foot itself is big enough that like 3 of you standing next to each other are still in front of the foot. The 4th one is like half in front of the foot. The little toe thing on it is pointing towards you.
How close are we?
You are. I'm going to go with that was about 10 feet away. 3 meters.
Okay, so we are definitely where we can sprint and climb aboard.
Yes. Its patrol path seems to be pretty much right on top. And for some reason, it hasn't seen the shuttle.
So when the foot crashes to the ground, not that far from us, after that moment where we all kind of regain our stability because it's like Trapper Keeper is gonna rub his hands together. Like, you know what they say. The bigger they are, the better the brawl. And again, run forward and start climbing up. As directed toward the escape hatch on the back.
I imagine as TK runs forward and starts climbing, the rest of us kind of exchange those looks and look at their ascension guns, look at you scaling the side of the foot, shrug.
Keeps my hands free.
All right. Can I get this would be a medium check or average for the athletics climbing?
So from each of us?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
going to be the ranged for the ascension gun, as in shooting it, or climbing. Everything's average.
Okay, so we're doing one or the other. If I get a pick, I'm going to go with range light because I'm slightly better at that.
Well, I started figuring with the ascension gun, yeah, you'd be using some form of weapon.
You said it was
Look
average.
at Trapper Keeper
Yeah.
showing off.
I work with a guy like that. Just loves climbing.
Again, Talkback is getting by with one success.
I'm going to use true aim to make sure I line it up properly and to counteract my lack of ranks in range light. Assuming that's all right, Ben?
Oh, yes.
Well, Hotstone has scored 2 successes and 2 advantage. So that's 1 success and 1 advantage for each ascension gun.
Okay.
Pew, pew.
So- With the climbing check, Trapper Keeper got 6 successes and 2 threats. So I would like part of my successes to be that I actually get there first. But I'll take, if Ben doesn't mind, that I'll take it as 2 strain. But it's also that I get up there and they get up there immediately thereafter and look fine. And I'm like,
Okay, that's one of the threat. The other one is this is walking around like the entire reason why there's sinkholes out there is the same reason why there's a huge amount of sinkholes out there in our tundra, is that everything's warmed up, methane's escaping, and all of a sudden nothing's holding up the dirt anymore, and they go foomp. It is walking around essentially in mud. The first foot, the actual foot of the walker is just caked in mud.
so now I am too?
Yeah.
Is that a setback oncoming, or is that another strain?
No, that's just a second strain, but I was just wanting that be from you having to work really hard to get off of the foot.
Well, I'm worrying about the dry cleaning bill for the suit jacket.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the main one.
it doesn't get dry cleaned, man. I just chuck it in a wash and then I hang it out to dry behind the ships.
No wonder you need to make this score. Your laundry bill must be ridiculous. That's no way to treat a suit jacket.
It's made
It's
of that
special.
stuff Under Armour is made of.
Yeah.
It's like Kevlar neoprene. Everything. There is not
Awesome.
an actual real fiber in this jacket.
It's a ballistic suit jacket.
Okay, I really like that, actually. Okay, so you get to the escape hatch. It's an escape hatch. It's also normally many, many meters in the air, like 12 meters in the air, aka, off the top of my head, that's like 40 feet-ish. So, yeah, people are not just generally walking by. And it's on this Imperial Death Machine. So, yeah, no one's really clamped this thing shut. As sort of alluded to earlier, it's not the best crew walking in this thing. So, yeah, the actual escape hatch is every time it does a step, it just sort of flutters a moment where it goes, whoo, thud, clang, clang, whoo, thud, clang, clang. It's like someone forgot to dog it down.
So are we inside the hatch, or are we still outside or hanging out
Yeah,
at the end?
you're able to open the hatch and get in without anyone
I just
really
imagine since
noticing.
Hanzo doesn't have a hand free to climb in, that he's hooked his feet around a pipe, and then he aims both ascension guns, like, he lets them go, and then aims them inside the hatch, and fires them. And it's kind of like if you've ever seen one of those vacuum cleaners that retracts its own cord. He just kind of, like, ends up slithering in.
Is it like EDM gear, like Attack on Titan? Are you just whipping around with you?
Yeah, kind of. Except it's not that graceful because he's got, like, a 300-pound gun.
Yeah, I think once you're getting like close to the entrance talkbacks whose weapons are still holstered and not giant backpacks, will try to like help grab you and help pull you onto the ship. That thing weighs a ton.
You're just lucky it didn't get wedged in the door. Because that has happened before.
Okay, I need to start accounting for that more.
He'll be fine. Come on. Let's go on in.
All
We've got
right.
a special delivery.
Now, before we make our way to the control room, I seem to recall, and Ben, I'd like to cash in some of my advantage, please, because my roll was 2 success and 3 advantage.
Yep.
Can there be, you know, the doorway that leads to the troop-containing part of the AT-AT?
Yep.
Is there a way to lock that down from this side so they can't open it from the other side?
Okay, so you're just looking at Parasite inside the Walker Bay.
Essentially, yeah, so that we can make our when we make our way up towards the head of it, we can't be pushed back from behind.
More education.
I would go with sure.
Let's lock down this here, make sure we don't get any unwanted surprises. And Notches walks over. He kind of slings his rifle using the gyroscopic thing onto his back, pulls out from some of the various pouches and belts that are hanging off his armour a variety of improbable tools, and walks over to the doorway that leads into the troop compartment and forcibly locks it. Let's go and say hello to the pilots.
Hot Zone pulls back like a charging handle on the blaster and grins in like this wolfish way.
Hey, Hot Zone, maybe don't fire that thing into the cockpit.
Oh.
It's all right. You'll get a chance to use it, I'm sure. Hey, TK,
Yo,
your knife skills still up to snuff?
I've got some new toys, too.
All right, lead the way.
I will indeed lead the way. We're familiar, like, with the troopers that we've got going on. Do we know, have we done enough research to know how many people to expect aboard this thing?
This one's just on patrol, so you're expecting 3. A commander and 2 pilots.
So it's unlikely that they would expect to hear other steps.
Correct.
Okay. So I would like to creep forward, stepping in time with the sounds of the vehicle, and make my way to the cockpit to make some new friends.
All right. In that case, that does sound like a stealth. I'm going to go with it's uneven terrain on account of all the walking and it's moving, so I'm going to toss in a setback from that, but it's going to be 1 red as a difficulty. So 1 red, 1 setback for a stealthy type thing.
Oh, nice.
Not that nice.
I
mean-
so that's a fail and 2 advantage. I'm not fussed, really.
Maybe it's like the popping of your joints or something. You're trying to like Metal Gear Solid style, like try to crouch down and approach.
No, I think what happens is
Your sinister laughter reverberates around the inside, but the advantage is they don't know where it's coming from.
you're so judgy, Adam. God. No, I was going to suggest they hear me coming, but the advantage is maybe that they hear it, and so they're not completely focused on what they're doing, but not necessarily that they think somebody is actually, they're like, oh, that was weird. But what happens is I have to do that stutter step, like when you're following somebody and trying to line up your paces. You do that little hop skip to get in rhythm. So I had to do that hop skip to get in rhythm, so they heard footsteps. And the advantage is that they don't really know if they should believe that they heard footsteps, because that makes no sense.
Okay. So essentially what I'm figuring is that since we've got the three there, one is the vehicle commander, guess that's what you'd actually call them, and you've got the pilot and gunner up front. The pilot and gunner are just sort of ignoring it, and it's like you hear them, "Hey, Terrence, go see what that is," through the door, and then I don't know. Did you make it through the neck and open the door, or has the door opened yet?
I would not have opened the door.
All right.
Not yet, at least.
And with that, then you now see this person in Imperial Vehicle Commander armor, just like Veers. Absolutely shocked. Doesn't have his gun out at all. It's like, but who are you? Why? You're not part of the garrison. Where the criff did you come from? And he's starting to scramble for his gun.
All right, are we rolling initiative, or do I get to do something first?
I would go with you gotta do something first.
May I have a maneuver and an action?
Sure.
Assuming that I'm standing in front of the door, I would like to say, hello, and then whip out my snap baton and smack him in the face.
Excuse me, Meister.
Okay. Go for it.
It's 2 purple automatically, right? Any ranks in anything?
No. The armor that he is wearing just provides an extra soak, so yeah, no. He is just kind of there.
All right, so he flails and he looks at me, and I just smile and smack him in the face. What the heck? That's 2 yellow, 2 green, 2 purple. 3 of those dice are blank. 2 of those dice that are blank are the yellows. Honest to goodness.
D1.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that was hateful, dice. That was hateful. Anyway, so I smile, and then I'm actually going to do like the cool flippy thing where I flip it into my hand and then whip it out and then bam! Right across the side of his head.
Okay.
And that is +1, so that's 3 + 4, 7 damage to the face.
All right.
Ouch.
And in that case, that's actually going to knock him flat.
After I smack him in the face, I glance over the shoulder and I wave my weapon at you guys. Close quarters. Important practice. Got this from an insurance adjuster that didn't want to pay his tab at the bar.
I have no words, TK. I have no words.
Neither does he. That's the best part. That's why you hit him in the face.
Just love the idea that in Star Wars, insurance adjusters routinely carry snap batons.
I mean, it is that kind of universe.
So you've smacked this guy in the front of his face, and yeah, you're able to do just enough damage to down him. So his neck snaps to the side, and he just crumples like a bag of potatoes.
I don't want any chips from that bag.
And now there is a pilot and a gunner sitting there, and all of a sudden you hear the thwing of the step happening, and then nothing. It just stops. And the two in front of you are in the white TIE Fighter-esque looking stuff, or I guess light gray, and they're turning, trying to grab at their sidearms, and I'm thinking that initiative kind of works here.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get
Yeah.
initiative.
So is this vigilance or cool?
For y'all, it would be cool.
I'm fine with that.
I like it better than vigilance, which is odd because I should be good at that.
Leslie or Christine, go first just to show everyone else what needs to be done to roll initiative.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Oh. Yes. I thought there was
right.
a special way of doing it, but like we don't use D1. We use real
Did I-
dice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Real dice.
Was that me?
Yeah.
I actually rolled the same thing when I corrected my roll. That's weird.
Okay, so all 4 of us are in there now. So Ben,
Now for the bad news.
I mean, how bad could it be? They're just 2 pilots on an AT-AT. Unless they're both dark troopers or something.
Don't say things like that. Why do you say things like that?
This is the only AT-AT in the entire Imperial army that's piloted by 2 Inquisitors.
Oh no!
This is Darth Vader's personal AT-AT. And he brought the Emperor along for a joyride.
He's just an old man. We can deal with this.
It's okay. I'm sure we've all had some experience killing lightsaber wielding people.
Yes, I've had a lot.
Too
I
soon.
don't know. I feel like I blacked out during that period.
Yeah.
I'm not a fighter pilot, and I was in, what's his name's battalion? Plo Koon.
Yeah.
I like to say Plo Koon.
Master Plo! On which note of the things, you will notice, because you've all been around him long enough, that some of Notch's have been Tipexed and epoxied back in an effort to take them off the notches. Wasn't proud of those ones a few years later on when he had a chance to think about what happened.
Isn't Tipex just whiteout?
Yes. Probably. Yes, I think so.
Correction fluid.
Yes, correction fluid. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. Just like the idea of you with that little tiny brush.
Yeah, just painting over the notches.
All that and comes out
a
as
single
a
advantage.
single advantage. Because it is a minion group of 2, but they aren't trained in it.
Gotcha. Well, I got a way to help that might either be really cool or more funny.
That sounds like you now have to do this.
Yeah. Either of those outcomes is the best possible outcome.
We have the shot, or talk back is she's moving forward towards the cockpit, but Trapper Keeper's kind of like just inside, swinging his baton. She's going to throw her poncho kind of more over one shoulder. We can make out a little bit more of her armor, where an Arabesh on her shoulder are the words she and her. She has some like stenciled like vines and flowers that are going up one of her greaves. We see her hands reach toward her belt, where she has the 2 blasters holstered, and then instead she reaches to a sheath at her back and pulls out a curved shaped blade, holds it in hand, and is going to chuck a vibro-ring into the cockpit at one of the guys.
Oh, please roll beautifully on this.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. This is short range, so.
Okay. Did I have to use a maneuver to move up or anything for it to be within short range, or?
Yes, you would need to move because you'd be at the back door, I'm figuring, to
Okay.
provide TK enough quiet. So you have to
Okay.
move through the neck and then you can throw. Or you can
Okay.
throw beforehand. I mean, it is a vibro ring.
Well, I got to use 2 strain to draw the thing.
Yeah.
Then for my second maneuver, so I can't aim. Then I'll throw. I'm double checking my talents because this is a new character to me. Well, a new version of this character. Okay, and I'm gonna flip a destiny point,
Cool.
which will bring me up to 3 yellow versus just 1 purple.
I'm going to give him cover. So 1 purple,
That's
1
fair.
setback.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, I figure they're sitting down. They haven't had a chance to really get out yet.
Nice.
Okay, and I managed 3 successes and 2 advantages.
So it hits 1 and does damage and comes back? I'm joking.
Well, it doesn't come back on a hit, unfortunately. But
Okay.
however, so the base damage on this is 4. So that's going to be 7 damage, and I'm going to crit with the 2 advantages.
So wait, you kill one? Because these are minions.
Possibly.
So I am figuring that it's going to do something pretty close to... So, yes. Wait, how much Pierce is on that?
None.
I forget.
I don't think. Oh,
Fiber
Pierce
ring?
2.
There's Pierce.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. Pierce 2. And Vicious 1.
Well, it's their minions, so you do kill both of them. The question I've got is how.
So,
It's a minion group. You
Yeah.
are doing raw just enough damage, actually more than enough damage to kill one, and then you crit to do enough wounds for the other one.
I think as she throws it, it kind of like, it's curving, and as it enters the room, it slices by one of the troopers, sort of catching it with the slash before it sticks into the other one. I don't think this was necessarily intentional on her part, but she's going to play it off like it was.
Oh yeah, no. Trapper's gonna look at you, having witnessed all of this, because you like threw it over his shoulder. He's gonna look over. Be honest. Did you do that on purpose?
Of course.
That's what I thought. He goes in to grab the bodies and start getting them out of the way. He's used to that.
See, you're not the only one who's picked up some new toys.
Hot Zone goes straight for the gunner's chair, sets his big gigantic gun down next to it with like an almighty clang, and just kind of rubs his hands together with that sort of mad to Wera Morrison energy.
Yeah, and Notches also kind of runs in, grabs the body of the pilot and throws him out of the chair, hits a release on the gyro harness, sits down and waits for a beat for when the next footfall would have hit from the counting down the rhythm. We missed one, and then when the next one would have happened, hits the impeller to move us forward again. So it looks like we only missed one footstep, hopefully not enough to alert the troops.
Nice.
Very nice.
Talkback is going to retrieve her Viber ring from the one body that Notches unceremoniously had dumped. And then if there's like a comm station or something back there, she'll take that.
So the way that they work is you've got the pilot and gunner up front that actually look out through the portal. And then behind that is a commander station, which has like a little hollow projector and a standing desk.
Does it have a track so he can do his walking while he's at his desk?
Not quite, but
hey,
you know.
this thing's kind of nice, actually. I should get one of these for home.
It's got one of those things under it with the little bike pedals.
It powers his iPod.
All right, then I will stand behind the desk behind them.
Are we approaching another sinkhole in the reasonably near future? Because I've got some bodies to dispose of.
The terrain is just pockmarked with these sinkholes. Now that you're up here, you can actually see the patrol path, and it winds around all of these sinkholes.
Okay. I'm going to rifle through the pockets, see if there's anything worth taking, and then I will unceremoniously dump them in sinkholes as we go past.
I'm sort of figuring that to make it easier, you're just opening the boarding ramp on the side, which is a fairly large door.
It's like a slide.
Yeah, just slide.
Whee!
Yeah. As they then drop down 30 feet.
Oh, squishy.
Well, into sinkholes, so splash landing.
Well, the sinkholes are actually kind of dirt on the bottom, so it's just further.
I don't know that it changed the
Right.
splash too much. Maybe just the tonality of it.
Either way, they're filed and they're no longer our problem, so it's all right.
Yep. Did I find anything
is-
like command cylinders or useful weapons?
Yeah, off of the one, there is a command cylinder.
I'll toss that to Talkback.
Thank you.
So what do you reckon? Carry on with the patrol path until we get closer, or just go straight there and have done? I suppose if we go straight there, it's a lot quicker, but it might alert the troops in the back. But it's how much of the, it's how much we care about that. I don't think they've got any comms back there.
Well, here's another idea. Maybe we can fake some kind of a mechanical problem and give us an excuse for approaching earlier.
I mean,
Yeah,
how
I reckon we
big does
can
it
do
need
so.
to be?
I don't think that big. Nothing we want to actually impact the functionality, but we want it to look good, you know?
Noted.
Which are you wanting to go with? Trying to gain contact with command and say, you need to come in for repairs?
Wait a minute.
Or
I've got an idea. So, yeah, if we just start heading straight back, and if command then start trying to get in contact with us to find out what's going on, I think I still remember a little bit of binary, or maybe, or I'm sure you do, Talkback. We can send a message out encoded saying that all our comm systems have gone down. So all we can do is send out like a Morse code type comms. That's why they can't speak to us in here, so they're not going to be able to ask us for any passcodes.
Yeah. Might be able to signal them with like the flashing lights at the front or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trapper Keeper looks a little disappointed and starts putting away some tools that he found.
Okay, fair.
Hot Zone shrugs and says something to the effect of, I'm just a simple man that controls to the biggest gun in the IO. And then he starts tapping the emergency blinkers, like the hazard flashers.
Yeah, it's a shame you can't carry
Well,
that
well,
one.
Look on the bright side. If this doesn't work, then you'll get to start firing the guns.
What are we doing about the cargo back there? And Notches jerks his head back towards the troop compartment.
That was empty.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh.
I had completely missed that the entire troop compartment was empty.
But that's okay.
So, nothing to worry about there?
Excellent. Right. Okay. Marvelous. Well, let's bring it home then. And Notches starts turning direction to walk toward the base.
Can I get a piloting planetary check of 1 red, 1 purple, and 3 setback?
Ooh,
Guess
Remind-
it has horrible handling.
I was about
Reminder,
to say.
you can add an automatic triumph to this, Adam.
Which I shall use that to upgrade.
I think it's just a triumph. You just automatically get that result. Right?
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
Schmancy.
Yeah, I can only do that once per encounter, but it seemed appropriate.
2 successes, 2 advantage, and a triumph then.
Actually, 3 successes because it's a triumph.
Yes, 3 successes, 2 advantage, and a triumph.
All right, so you're able to turn, and the entire terrain is pockmarked with sinkholes. The one thing that you're a little surprised at is you know that there was, at the end of the Clone Wars, there was a battle here. You're seeing no trace of it. Like, it was 100% cleaned up. The reason you know that there was a battle here is because the 4 of you were in it. But you're able to get the wend its way through the now fairly uneven terrain. As you start approaching the home station, the docking stations for this, you're approaching this massive mesa of just pure obsidian, or that's kind of what it looks like. As the outside of it, now that you're getting closer, you can see facets to it, but it looks absolutely polished on the sides. So it just looks like black mirrors going all the way around this massive single piece of obsidian. You're getting closer and closer to it. You can see the single band of gray that went from bottom to top is actually the garrison that's been carved into it. And the walker entrance on the bottom is big enough that 3 walkers could walk through side by side.
Dadgum.
Ooh.
This is phenomenally huge. It still only looks like a small sliver up the side. Otherwise, it looks like almost a pure massive puck of obsidian. As you're pulling in, there are 17 AT-ATs that are in their docked locations. There are 2 other docks that are empty, and there is the one that you're in. The tricky part to this, and I'm going to probably eat up your advantage for this, is for parking into these docks, it's actually backing in.
Doop.
Notches, are you sure you remember how to parallel park?
I'm gonna say yes, and then we'll see what happens. Front park. Now you see, parallel park. It's reverse park. No, I've lost it. I know normally you look for the little thing about a third of the way in through your wing, your mirror. No, that's it. You can tell I've never legally passed a driving test, can't you?
Notches, just consider. You're working with a damaged machine. If there's an accident, you have an excuse, and we're probably killing them anyway.
That's very fair. I've got to
10
say,
points if you can get them to fall over like dominoes.
Just do your best. Just make sure to move the legs in reverse order.
It's like DDR, but now you have to play it backwards.
I'm a little bit concerned about how many ANADs there are here. I don't recall there being quite so many stationed at this place, let alone that many troops. Let's hope it's just abandoned war gear.
Well, it was all droids last time.
That's
Right?
true. Damn clankers.
Notch's new YouTube videos. I parked an AT-AT with a DDR dance pad. Parentheses,
So-
and it worked.
As you pull in, your roll was good enough that you're able to get into the slip. With some sweat because, driving a new thing, but you're able to back it in. You're even able to not really engage the cushions on the back. Like you can tell that, they've had some really horrible drivers. The gangway extends, the side door opens down. You can see a couple maintenance people rushing up. One's got a toolbox, the other one has some cables wrapped around their chest, almost like it's a bandolier. In behind them is a shuffling gonk, going gonk,
Young.
gonk. Yeah.
I love them.
What's your trouble? We saw the blinkers that there was something wrong with the walker. Wait, you're not the... And I'm wanting to know what the heck
Hot
you're doing.
zone?
Oh.
Well, fortunately for me, the sling on the gun gives it quick draw.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
This is what it says.
I just like the idea of you're like, oh, I'm on, and all of a sudden just rotate your body, and this giant Gatling blaster swings around in your hands, and you start firing.
I just imagine he stands at home in the mirror practicing quick drawing the heavy blaster.
Do you feel lucky, punk? Well, do you?
He keeps standing too close and shattering the mirror by accident.
Yeah, and then most
But yeah, if we want to take him out with the gun, I will.
Do it.
All right. So is it just this guy by himself?
There's two guys and a gonk droid.
Okay.
But it's a minion group. I'm going to go with, things are still kind of cramped, so call it short range, but 2 setback.
That'll work. I will quick draw the heavy repeating blaster. I guess I will. There's only 2 of them. I'll go ahead and use. I'll just aim and then fire. So let's see. Short range with 2 setbacks.
Yeah, so a purple setback, and
then 5 yellow dice. Okay.
and they're misted.
oh, technically, we never spent the triumph from the AT-AT either.
We have a triumph, 3 successes, and 3 advantages.
Yeah, at
So-
that point, they're missed.
Oh.
Yeah, I was going to say, just without the triumph, I think I just inflicted 18 damage.
Oh.
And then, if I remember right, the 3 advantage is enough to crit.
Yeah, it's a 2 crit rating.
Triumph, it happened to be while they were conducting like an alarm test or something.
Yes! A thunderstorm very suddenly swept up,
I
crashed,
swear, I
and then
thought I heard
disappeared.
something. Oh no, don't worry. They were just testing the fire alarms in floor 7 base.
Hot Zone just blows smoke off the barrel of the gun.
And then the poor Gonk's probably just like, Gonk?
It starts gonking away.
Starts to like slowly turn around.
Yeah.
That was on semi-auto, too.
I would like
I love
to
this thing.
disembark. See if I can find a comm unit that is on base.
Yes, you can.
All right.
Yeah, Hot Zone will put his helmet on and leave, too.
I'm assuming there's no chatter about what just happened because stuff was going on, so nobody noticed.
Well, the other thing is, as you get out into the base, there's one very stark thing. there seems to be pretty much no one here. In the preps for you thinking about doing this and all that, you knew that the garrison was going to be depleted because of something going on with some rebel group. But this seems really quiet. There's only these two here.
In this giant bay.
Surrounded by so much war gear. Yeah, I think because Notches is quite twitchy at the best of times in close proximity to stuff. That's why he's a sniper. And I think as he kind of follows everybody else out, strapping Nostalgia back on, he's like, I know we made the choice to come here now because it's quiet, but this is too quiet. I don't trust how quiet this is. I don't believe that the Force is ever going to work in our favor to this extent.
Just try not to think about it. Just, things can work in our favor once in a while.
When? When have things ever worked in our favor?
Now is the time. Look, the Force or luck or whatever owes us one.
Just one.
I don't think that's how it works.
Hey, is that a computer terminal?
I would like, if you're cool with this, Ben, I would like to pick up an engineer's hammer that's just, on a tool cart somewhere.
Okay, yeah, I'm figuring you've got 1.5 engineer's hammer, and then you've got the the 3.5 foot long handled one.
We're walking toward that computer panel or console. TK stops and literally does the thing where you back up 3 steps and pivots. His hand hovers over the smaller one, and then he's like, "No, I know this, friend." He picks up the 3-foot engineer's hammer and kind of taps it in his one hand. Brings back memories. Had a Mon Cal mech. Oh, he had such an attitude problem. Started a brawl. Couldn't pay his bill. I took the weapon for personal reasons. And then he follows you again, still thoughtfully swinging the hammer.
I have a suggestion for my triumph.
Okay.
Not only is there a computer terminal there, because it makes sense that there would be in a bay like this for logistics. Could the triumph be that it's not secured?
Sure, that totally makes sense.
Grand. Because we are dealing with the...
Yeah, I was about to say, you summoned the dudes while they were using it, so it's still got their plug-in.
Mm-hmm.
Social media. It'll rot your brain. I'm going to close out on that window and see if I can bring up like a map of the base or anything.
Did you see what was in that search bar?
I'm not one to judge. Okay, maybe a little bit.
So as you bring up a map, it looks to be a relatively standard-ish garrison. There's the power core towards the base. You've got the garrison wedge, even with a few TIE fighters, about half squad, so 6 up in the top there. Actually looks to be strikers, so like the kind of flappy-winged atmospheric ones. On the inside is the Mun depository that appears to still be intact. Or at least it's labeled as Imperial Depository X3T.
Okay. How far away is that from our position?
The depository is further into the base itself, further into the mesa. And there is a small tram that runs from the garrison into the depository itself.
Okay.
That's our goal, right?
Yeah. Looking at like maybe logs and stuff, is it pretty common that they have people going to and from the depository, or does it seem like that might set off alarms or problems?
It does look like that would set off alarms, that the depository looks to be mostly protected, that the garrison is here to protect the depository.
Okay.
The depository itself doesn't have a huge amount of traffic. In fact, it seems to be high-level Imperial officers of Commodore rank and higher that get in, or general.
Oh.
Yikes.
Otherwise, no one really goes in and out. You can find recent logs, in the last month, of this garrison just getting depleted. That it's okay, this 1,000 troops is going off to Kuat. This 1,000 troops is going off to Nemoidia. The garrison itself went from about 3,500 down to about 100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's their current commander? Is there any information on that in here? Would they happen to be of Commodore rank or higher?
They left a Major Tiber here.
Okay.
The actual general who had been in command of this is now off controlling some of the garrison at Kuat.
Now, it would help us out a great deal if we had this general's access codes, but given they're not here...
Well, they'll be stored in the system here somewhere. Do we need to find a command center so you can go and do some digging, or...?
It'd help out. I mean, this is just a maintenance station. They got us a map, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Hudson clears his throat and pats the gun. He's like, "You really think we need an access code?"
Well, I mean, it depends whether or not that can blow through a vault door.
I haven't tried yet.
There are many ways to open doors. Not all of them involve explosions.
The most fun ones do.
The E-Web repeating blaster is a pathway to many abilities.
I know it's not why we're here, but we could do some damage in a general sense if you need explosions.
Well, why don't we take a walk and see what they have lying around, and it might be worthwhile to pay the command level a visit. I'm only showing 100 folks here anyway.
Yeah, we're not too old to go clubbing.
Yeah.
TK swings the hammer up to his shoulder and smiles.
All right. Let's get underway.
Let's get underway. We're so formal.
Notches slides Nostalgia up to ready position. I'll cover the back.
As long as you're facing away from us, I'm fine with that. You too, Hudson. I mean, blasters, you know.
Yeah. We know.
It seems that TK is apparently not very fond of blasters or ranged weapons in general. I don't know. So he's gonna walk with the boss.
All
Since
right.
she seems like she knows what she's doing. Or something.
Only vaguely. All right, with my shiny map, I'm going to start leading us further into the base. I guess primarily interested in either supply rooms or the command level, depending whichever is closer. So we look for some tools to help us get into a vault door.
Like a giant hammer.
Like explosives or a computer terminal on the command level. As I think as we're entering, I'm going to go ahead and also ditch my poncho completely now, because I figured somebody seeing the white laminate from a distance is going to stand out less than with the poncho.
Dark suits are in fashion here, though. Maybe not the sunglasses, but dark suits.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
But if you take the sunglasses off, how will we know you're a rock star?
You're leading the group in. There are stairwells going down. There's turbo lifts going down to the main floor, and then it's pretty basic of a layout. It's almost entirely just radial hallways coming out and then cross arcs connecting them. And it's pretty regular. It's big enough that the walls, the radials coming out, they're not quite parallel, but they're pretty parallel. You're able to follow one, it then ends, you go on an arc and able to go a bit further in. By the time you get close in, you can see the inner wall of the garrison, and on the inside is absolutely massive. It looks like one of those old pillbox forts that is on the inside. You've got a little bit of a slope up, then a slope out, and then walls going up, and it doesn't touch any of the outside of the mesa. and the inside of it looks entirely made of Duracrete. And you can see a fairly large door that continues in from where the vehicle bay was. Looking at it, you can see a few consoles that are near it. And by consoles, I'm meaning the workstations that, like an Imperial tech would be standing in the middle, and they're the circle ones that go almost all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So you've got a couple of those on the outside, and then otherwise you can see a few guard posts. They are definitely there, but the door itself looks like it's probably big enough that you could block an all-terrain tactical enforcer through without hitting a side.
Jeez.
The depository is massive.
Were there any of those conveniently located? Just,
Which?
A casual question.
Any of which?
The ATT is what she's asking about.
You can see a few places where you could dock one, because it doesn't look like they completely cut those out when they put the AT-ATs in. You've got the AT-ATs behind you. There are none of the ATTEs.
We don't have any convenient walkers with which to open doors, is what I'm hearing. Alas.
I mean, you could try starting up a bunch.
Ooh,
There's like 18 behind you.
Yeah, and there's only AT-ATs, no AT-STs.
Correct.
Oh, that's a shame. A chicken
Are
walk
the
would go well here.
AT-ATs next to each other?
There are 2 columns of them going along the vehicle path, and each of them are backed in so that they're facing each other.
On a scale of 1 to dominoes, how dominoes?
Adam and I are on the same page.
The walkers would domino beautifully. The problem is that they wouldn't domino onto anything when they dominoed on the inside. There's enough room around it. The interior construction, like the impression that you get is the entire mesa could come down around it, and it should still be viable. The idea is that if one of the doomsday weapons that were being developed were to be fired off at this planet, the depository is still supposed to survive.
Okay.
I'd still save at least one of the walkers or something, just in case we need to come out this way.
Yeah, but I bet we can find something faster. But it would be a good distraction, is what I'm saying. We'll just kind of knock a few AT-ATs over, and...
Oh, I got no problem with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can always use one of the AT-ATs to knock the other AT-ATs over. Minimize pursuit from anything big enough to hurt us.
Why don't you lot do important things, and I'll go pay a visit to the joints of our former ride.
What are we going to escape in that we're worried about being caught up to by an AT-AT?
Currently an AT-AT is...
Carry on, then.
I was just thinking it could be a handy distraction if we need to move people from where they are currently.
All right, carry on.
All right, I'm a run back to the AT-AT. Well, I'm gonna hustle back. I don't run. I shuffle like a lineman, basically. He's just a big dude, kind of jogging with that shuffling gait and a massive hammer over his shoulder. I'm gonna use one of their little standing ladders, and legitimately, what I want to do is sabotage the side joints, like foreleg and a back leg on the same side, so that they collapse into the next one and just domino effect a whole bunch. And then if we want to summon to people and say, hey, we're under attack, and let them all run out, and then we can lock them out of the base or something, I don't know. It's like Ding Dong Ditch, but with a lot more destruction. But yeah, that's what I want to do.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Heroes of the Hydian Way. You can find show updates on Twitter at The Hydian Way, and you can find me, Ben, on Twitter at Deuterium Ice.
You can find me on Twitter at Madam Beltane.
And you can find me on Twitter at AKA Agent Shades and on YouTube by going to my Twitter and clicking on the link. It's easier. Sorry.
You can find me on Twitter at LesLitGS, and you can also find Adam over at Force Majeure. Their Twitter is Force Majeure Pod, I believe.
It is, yes. I
Do
just
it.
wasn't sure. Yeah, I just wasn't sure on like the protocols of touting my own stuff.
No,
here.
if you have other shows, you should promote them.
Plug.
Yes.
Then I shall. You can find our primary show, which is another Star Wars Force actual play, a Force and Destiny one, and we have a second show, which is a Fantasy Genesis one called Dungeon Majeure, which is also at Force Majeure Pod, because like building up 2 Twitter audiences is entirely too much work.
Fair.
Very fair.
And I'm Christine, and you can find me on Twitter at 12th Night. That's 12th Night with a K.
We are all at theheidiandway.com, where you can find previous episodes.
You can find more episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Plus, you can help us out by rating, reviewing, and subscribing.
We are also on Facebook as The Heidi and Way, and you can holocom us at heroes@theheidiandway.com.
If you like what we do and want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/theheidiandway.
Or if you want to buy Hot Zone some more Ascension cables, you can, can head over to ko-fi.com/The Heidi and Way.
Till I get around, it's like Spider-Man. It's one of each hand.
That's
the
not a thwip,
scariest
though,
thing.
buddy.
It's just so scary.
You're more like Doc Ock, bro.
Yeah.
Doc Ock with a
Or
giant gun.
Scorpion. Yeah, I was just sort of thinking Scorpion with the amount of gun. Yeah.
Do the numbers have any specific
Not really.
connection that I
No,
need
we're
to make?
we're just nerds that like the numbers.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick a number.
4 digits. Yes.
But it's not my pin. Sorry.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh
that's
no,
fair.
I've made a
Yeah.
critical error.
And I am Leslie. I'm playing.
Well, I'll keep plenty. Oh, that's not even the voice. That's gone very no, a water bottle. There we go.
I also like how I've played Kesh so much, so when Leslie started going deeper, I started trying to go deeper, and I don't need to for this character.
I'm trying to get my clap. There we are. It's like
Welcome to
Australia.
the AU where all the clones were clones of Jason Statham.
I'm gonna cut you, slags. Well, no, you got to start Australia, then you got to draw it back to be a little bit more like unhappy. That's kind of how I get my.
Is this a good point to describe the characters?
Yes.
No, we should leave it to the mind's eye of the listener.
Okay.
4 vaguely humanoid shapes exit the ship. The end.
Well, we know that they're human-ish on account of their clones, but yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but every one of us has to have like our distinctive like haircut and like face tattoo.
Exactly.
Then start festivities, my dear.
Oh, I have to do? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I get for mentioning it. Oh, I sort of forgot my job. I forgot my job again. Let me do that before I start.
One moment. I'm going to put Poncho out of the room because he's being a little bit distracting. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh, I'll go next then, since Poncho is being distracting, and I disposed of my puppy for the day. That sounded a lot more terminal than I meant it to.
A lot more ominous, yes.
Passed the puppy to a coworker for the day, so he could she could tear around with her puppy. So, yeah.
Okay, that sounds slightly less ominous.
Slightly less awful.
Nah, nothing. I got cockney again.
That's okay. I'm not gonna judge you.
Yeah, no one's going to judge you, man.
Yeah.
Well, Mikey
Nothing.
might.
Yeah, back
Oh,
in.
yeah.
I'm going to give you
You're going to
context for
take your
something.
claims denial, or you're going to get the baton. Welcome to the Empire.
I'm gonna give you context for something.
I disbelieve.
Well, his premise is that damnation, why won't you do what I want you to do? His premise is that he's a bouncer. And so he has had to confiscate things.
Ah. Also, like jackets?
Well, I mean, the jacket comes with the job. You've got to look like a specific brand of class if you're standing outside of a specific brand of bar.
Ah.
Sorry, club.
Not any of the bars or clubs I go to.
No,
I think I explained
worked-
Hot Zone's giant gun by saying he worked hunting, like, I think I said megafauna. I was thinking of that game that came out on the Xbox a while ago.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, no, that would have been good. I can't remember what it was called. It's like Exile or something. There's like
Oh, heck if I know.
one player plays this gigantic Godzilla kaiju monster.
Right, yeah.
And
then
the
there's
rest of
4
them are all
others.
hunting him.
Most fun ones do.
The E-Web repeating blaster is a pathway to many abilities.
Some
Now-
of them unnatural.
Yeah, like Quick Draw.
Yeah, we're not too old to go clubbing.
Yeah.
Swings the hammer up to his shoulder.
I just got that one. That was it.
TK swings
I'll
the
gi-
hammer
I'll
up
give
to
you
his
that one,
shoulder and
TK.
smiles.
Rebels are here.
Me.
They're tipping our assets.
Wonder where that guy got relocated to.